You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender, Alton Moore. I think I got it.
Welcome back.
Alton Moore is in the house. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again, Ron. I know I'm a often repeater here, so I'm glad and happy to be back again.
Glad to have you. You got to get it right, Alton. It's a repeat offender, is the way we refer to it.
Repeat offender. I couldn't spit that one out today.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it's repeat offender or we put you through misery repeatedly. One or the other. I'm not sure. It's probably us putting you through misery more often than not. But we appreciate you helping us out. Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by, and I won't be one of them while we are broadcasting.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
That just can't be everywhere. While I have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as I mentioned, if you were listening to us yesterday, well, if you weren't listening to us yesterday, shame on you. But our team growing dramatically, so we've now got Nikki Hall taking care of all of the loan files. That way, when I'm on air and I am broadcasting, there's still someone that can help you. Gotta love that. But hey, you know something? Yesterday was a tough day, right? So first we start off with the fact that first day back to work after the holidays, very, very close to the holidays. Radio host, maybe, I don't know if there's a hangover, being that I didn't drink that much over the holidays. But, and then I just, I look at the calendar of what we're supposed to be celebrating, and I got ahead of myself. So yesterday was National Chocolate Covered Cherry Day, regardless of what I said. It was chocolate covered cherry. Now, I like chocolate covered cherries. I don't know about you, but of course I like almost anything that's chocolate covered. That's just a different story. Now, it was a drinking straw day. Now, I don't know, and I don't know if this is all over the country, if it's just in the loony land where I live, but drinking straws have gotten crazy here. I don't know, Josh, do you have paper drinking straws? Okay, so you still got some real ones, and I know that those straws are going to really hurt the environment. That's where the serious problem is I don't know how, but I'm sure that the paper one is better because you have to cut down trees to get those. And then they're wrapped in paper. But no, the latest one I had was a paper drinking straw that was wrapped in plastic. Think about that one. Okay, so you can't have a plastic straw, but you have the paper straw wrapped in. Then there was a pasta one that was there, a bamboo one, cutting down more trees. I don't know if that's good or bad. But today, I said it yesterday, today's National Spaghetti Day. So we can enjoy the spaghetti. Where do you go for great spaghetti? And, I don't know. I talk with my hands. I eat a lot, so maybe I am a little Italian. Of course, Jewish, I guess we talk with our hands and eat a lot. So I guess it doesn't matter, right? So Sabatino's down in the Lido Shipyard, one of my favorites. That's a great place to go for sausage and pasta right there. So today, National Spaghetti Day. I'm not going to tell you what tomorrow is because that Josh is going to laugh at me because we see this one. Tomorrow's National Keto Day.
Wow.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Do I look like somebody that follows keto? I digress. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. Dow Jones up 241 points, but the Nasdaq's down 271.
Ow!
Yeah, the S&P 500 down almost 5 points. Oil up another $1.06 a barrel. Now I don't. Maybe the president doesn't know that either. Should we try and get a message off to the president? Let him know. Did you? I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but the president did have an awakening. It takes him a while. You know, he's over there in the White House. They don't have to really deal with anything too quickly. But he did just find out that beef prices have gone up. Glad to know that the president is on top of things, right? But he was sitting in his atrium with the sun shining in brightly, with his wife and her friend Marianne. I'm sure there's a reason we know it's Marianne. I wonder if Ginger was there too. But I digress. Different story. But he said, did you realize that hamburger meat is over $5 a pound? So what is the president going to do? He's going to send $1 billion to try and figure it out. That's the way you do things in Washington. I can tell you how to figure it out, Mr. President. Get out of the way. Right? Let's get some trucks back on the road. Open up the Keystone Pipeline so we don't have to pay an extra $1 a gallon for fuel. Right? These things all go into the cost of beef, up 20.9% from November 2020 to November 2021. 20.9%. Pork up 16.8%. Chicken up 9.2%. Right? 1 year numbers. And you wonder why the president's just figuring this out. Do you know where he was in November of last year? I don't know. Maybe he was sleeping on a beach somewhere. Why is the NASDAQ down so much today? It went up a lot yesterday. Tesla was up big time yesterday. Apple was up big time yesterday. Well, seems to be that it's the shutdown stocks or the opening up stocks. That's where the changes are. They're looking at saying, okay, we got this Omicron virus. It's not going to be nearly as bad as most people seem to think. And we're hitting its peak. About 1 million people yesterday tested positive. Now, they didn't test yesterday. They tested probably over the last few days. If you have a home test and you test positive, are you going to share the results with anybody? I just throw that out there, right? I mean, we know now that the cloth mask doesn't work yet. We watched the president and all his men wearing, that was a movie, wasn't it? All the president's men wearing cloth masks. Maybe they haven't got that report yet. Just throw that out there. I don't know. Do I want to, with oil up $1.18 a barrel, we got the 10-year treasury is up at 1.68. Okay, so we're watching all of those things for you. Do we want to see what oil prices are doing? Do we want to see how they're translating? I look in the green room here or in the control panel, and there's Josh just groaning when I say, do we want to talk about oil prices? Right? I mean, my commute is about 4 miles. So I am one of the lucky ones. So if I wasn't excessively overweight, I could probably even ride a bike. But $3.29 a gallon national average. Lori's paying $3.03 a gallon. $3.03 is what Lori's paying. And Josh is at $3.83. It's not quite as bad as us here in the formerly Golden State, where we're paying $4.66 a gallon.
Ow!
$4.66 right here in California. So just a little bit of craziness that we're dealing with. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, avoiding the rental trap in 2022, SB 9, it's the law now. So we're going to talk to Alton Moore about that, how those with variable income can save. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference in the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at RonIsMyLender.com. That's RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Nikki is standing by waiting for your call. Dow Jones now up 256 points. NASDAQ is down 252 points. The S&P 500 down 2.43. 10-year Treasury up another 5 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities down another 20 basis points, which means interest rates are up again today. What's driving all of this? Well, we've got a lot of data that's coming out. Some of it is fascinating data to me. I just watch it and you wonder what's going on here. So got the JOLTS report, tracks the monthly change in job openings, reported at 10.562 million for the month of November, which was lower than the expectations of 11.06. So that just came out. That one just hit the wire. And then we've got CoreLogic once again giving us I wonder if the people at CoreLogic, maybe they work at the CDC and the Federal Reserve, or the NIAID, I think is the name of it. So they give us the numbers that they want us to believe. Unfortunately, the numbers that are real are what comes out. So they released their home price index report showing that home prices rose by 1.3% in November and 18% year over year, unchanged from the previous report. and the highest reading in 45-year history of the index. The pace of appreciation, as we expected, appears to have reached its maximum on a year-over-year basis. CoreLogic forecasts that home prices will appreciate. I can't make this stuff up. I mean, they've been so wrong for so long, and now they come out and they say that home prices will appreciate by 0% in December and 2.8% in the year going forward. Now, let's take a look at what CoreLogic forecast in November. They anticipated a 0.2% in the month. Meanwhile, we saw 1.3%. When we looked at their report from last year at this time, they forecasted that home prices would increase 2.5%. Meanwhile, they reported today that prices rose 18%. So just like Fauci and the Fed, they get it wrong every time. Top metros, Phoenix up 31%, San Diego up 22%. Josh, Vegas 24% year over year. I know why you got out of California. Jesus, there's some that's good stuff. Adam Data Solutions, they're back at it again with their negative spin on data. They reported that 77% of counties are not affordable compared to 29% last year. And their reasoning is because the median home price is higher. I guess they don't understand what a median home price is. That just means that that's the middle price of homes sold. Half or above, half or below. It has nothing to do with affordability. But hey, Adam Data is out there. Unbelievable. Tomorrow we're going to get the ADP report. The big jobs report comes out on Friday. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You need to make a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Ask for Nikki. She'll take care of you on the lending side. Today we're talking with Alton Moore. Let me give you the disclosures. Alton Moore is an attorney. He is a CPA. We are not giving it. I shouldn't say we. He is not giving. Well, me too. I'm not giving any legal advice either, Alton. I'm not qualified, and he doesn't do it on air. So, not giving legal advice, not giving accounting advice. If you want legal advice, if you want accounting advice, well, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with Alton Moore. That's how he makes a living. He helps people all the time. But he comes on here to educate us. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, Ron. Thank you for having me on again. I'm excited to discuss some SB 9 law here.
SB 9. Is that state or is that federal?
So it's state. It's specific to California.
We're in trouble now. It's a California law. That means if you own a house, if you own a business, if you hire people, hold on tight.
Yes, that's right.
Did I narrow it down?
So, you know what's interesting, and this, of course, got a lot of pushback as it came through. I think it's got some benefit because it really has to do with, as you're speaking to, the affordability of housing here in California. But what it does in very layman's terms is that it streamlines the ability of persons who own homes to subdivide their lots and then build a duplex if they want to on each such lot that they've now subdivided. Where I know you've probably dealt with this. If you try to go get entitlements, subdivide lots, all this stuff, right, you might be looking at a 6 to 12 month period and doing something like that. But now with SB 9, the government, or the California government, has essentially told local counties that you have to streamline this process. We have a housing crisis here in California, and we need to find a way for homeowners to subdivide their lots, build on each parcel of property so that we can increase the overall housing here in California.
Which is fascinating because one of the best forecasting institutions in the country, I'll just throw it out there, it's Chapman. Well, you went to Chapman too, didn't you, Alton?
I did go to Chapman.
Okay, so Chapman University did their economic forecast the middle of last month. They basically said, there's no housing affordability crisis. There's no housing shortage in California. And they showed all the detailed reasons why. And, I think last year Chapman came in, I think they were like number 2 or number 3 in the nation for the accuracy of their forecast. And
Wow.
they're generally that way year after year after year. So when Chapman says, the state is misrepresenting reality, well, now we've just got credibility behind what we already knew, right? I'll just throw that out there.
No, it's funny you say that. I mean, I'm not specifics with that report, and I mean that's what this whole bill was about. But why it had so much pushback is because now people who like live in an area where it's like a suburban area, traditionally one house on each lot, right? Now this gives all those people the ability to subdivide and build multifamily on each of those lots. So like a good example is like in Eastside Costa Mesa, or if you're looking at Huntington Beach, there's all these old map lots, which are lots from the 50s and they're huge, right? But they're technically in a suburban area. Before there was zoning and other like local county and ordinance restrictions where you couldn't go through, subdivide, and build multiple parcels on that lot. Now SB 9 comes in and says, county, you have to step out of the way. We have to allow this, even if your neighbors are now going to be super unhappy that they thought they were buying into a nice suburban area, not with a bunch of multifamily all around them, but that's what's going to end up happening here.
So here's the issue that I have with it. You have a piece of property, a home that you bought in Newport Beach, and you've got the same rulings or same regulations as the guy that's got a house in Shafter, California. Yes, there is a Shafter, California, and I have been there, right? Or Wasco, right? So
Yes.
all of these communities have their own unique issues, right? You're in Newport Beach, you've got to deal with the Coastal Commission and the environmental issues. Well, in Wasco and Shafter, you have to deal with a little bit of extra methane gas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. So there's different issues everywhere. So how do you have a one size fits all is a problem I have with it.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a real good question here because each county is now being tasked with implementing their own procedures and policies on how this is going to be, SB 9 is going to be implemented for all their homeowners in the local area. And what's interesting, there's even restrictions of what the counties can do as in terms of like setbacks. Like I have some like really specific ones, like cities and counties can't impose like side or rear setbacks of more than 4 feet, or even require on-site parking spaces for properties of like 1/2 mile walking distance. So it's interesting because
Wait,
most
wait,
of the time,
1/2 mile walking distance of what?
oh, I'm sorry, to like local transit. So what I would say is like, because what you traditionally see is like counties and cities putting in like these local ordinances or zoning restrictions where essentially they would make it impossible for, to have like multifamily within a suburban area. But now because of SB 9, California government saying that we don't care what you would do or how you would try to do that. We're going to prevent you from putting in those ordinances so that you have to allow your homeowners this ability to subdivide and build on each lot. I guess there's some restrictions like, right, the homeowners got to live in the property for a number of years. The property couldn't have been rented can't be rented currently or for prior 3 years if they want to subdivide it. And, they've even tried to go and find people who might be working together and say that you can't use SB 9 if you're working with your neighbor here to subdivide parcels, right? Like they're trying to stop that. But I think there's a lot of imperfections in this bill, just like with any law, that's going to have to be worked out, and it's not going to be settled for a number of years before.
So is it in effect now? Because I know that there's a signature campaign going on trying to repeal this with a ballot initiative. We're going to talk more about that. We'll come back to that. Maybe Josh, maybe you can find out that initiative name from when Peggy Wong was on with us. I think last month a little bit. We'll try and find that for you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, yes, indeed, we've got a lot to cover still. Avoid the rental trap of 2022 and how those with variable income can save money. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a...
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. You can also go to rsrhomedigest.com. rsrhomedigest.com. Avoid the rental trap in 2022. Are you one of the many renters thinking about where you'll live the next time your lease is up? Before you decide whether to look for a new house or another apartment, it's important to understand the true cost of renting in 2022. As a renter, you should know rents have been rising since 1988. Look at that chart. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 KMET video feed, you're looking at Niagara Falls. Used to be, I said it would look like a ski slope, but that stopped in about 2017. Now it's gone straight up. Take a look at that thing. Holy cow. In 2021, rents grew dramatically. According to apartmentlist.com, since January 2021, the national median rent has increased by a staggering 17.8%. To put that in context, rent growth from January to November averaged just 2.6% in the pre-pandemic years from 2017 to 2019. That increase in 2021 was far greater than the typical rent increases we've seen in recent years. In other words, rents are rising fast, and the 2022 National Housing Forecast from Realtor.com projects rent prices for vacant units will continue to increase this year. Quote, in 2022, we expect this trend will continue and fuel rent growth. At a national level, we forecast rent growth of 7.1%. 7.1% in the next 12 months, somewhat ahead of home price growth. That means if you're planning to move into different rental this year, you'll likely pay far more than you have in the past. If you're a renter facing rising rental costs, you might wonder what alternatives you have. If so, consider homeownership. One of the many benefits of homeownership is it provides a stable monthly cost you can lock in for the duration of your loan. As Lawrence Yoon, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, says, quote, fast rising rents and increasing consumer prices may have some prospective buyers seeking the protection of a fixed, consistent mortgage payment, unquote. If you're planning to make a move this year, locking in your monthly housing costs of 15 to 30 years can be a major benefit. You'll avoid wondering if you'll need to adjust your budget to account for annual increases. Homeowners also enjoy the added benefit of home equity, which has grown substantially right now. In fact, the latest Homeowner Equity Insight Report from CoreLogic shows the average homeowner gained $56,700 in equity over the last 12 months. That is a national number, somewhat higher here in Southern California. As a renter, your rent payment only covers the cost of your dwelling. When you pay your mortgage, you grow your wealth through forced savings that is called home equity. Bottom line, if you're thinking of renting this year, it's important to keep in mind the true costs you'll face. Let's connect so you can see how you can begin your journey to home ownership today. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Continuing our conversation with Alton Moore this morning, we are chatting about the lovely Senate Bill number 9. Was it, Josh, it's probably before your time. Love Potion number 9. Does anybody remember that one? Right, Neil Diamond. Alton, come on, Alton.
I don't.
That's a Neil Diamond song. Love Potion. Oh, I better not sing it. I'll get too many people. We need a sound clip for that, Josh. I gotta figure out a way to doing that on the broadcast, getting sound clips in real quick. But let's see. We got we did have I think it was Peggy Wong, councilwoman from Yorba Linda, came on.
Yes.
And we're talking about a program, Alton. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called Our Neighborhood Voices. Yes. They've got a website, ourneighborhoodvoices.com, ourneighborhoodvoices.com. And basically the idea of this initiative is to say, Sacramento, we don't care what you say. We're going to once again take control away from the elected people who should have most of the control taken away from them and put it in the hands of the people and bring it back local. So the question I would have for you, Alton, and I know that you're not, the political side, you're on the legal side, not giving legal advice. But is the bill in effect, or is it stuck in courts, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, so I guess that's a good question, because actually this is the first time that I've heard of this initiative, or the Our Neighborhood Voices. So my understanding is that because it had the effective date as of January 1, it's likely going to affect, because it was passed into law, right, or signed into law. So my understanding is that to overturn it, there would have to be another Senate bill initiative that eventually overturns SB 9 and or SB 10. So I guess there could be some challenges here for each of the counties to impose it, but that's with the actual formalities of where it's at in court or being challenged, and where a potential another Senate bill proposition or initiative coming up to overturn SB 9. I'm not familiar where it is in that stage, actually. Okay, so basically we know it's signed into law, right? It had an effective date of January 1. So basically, my thought is that, we know that they're trying to get this done. My guess is they'll probably have some lawsuits. The bottom line is if you're thinking about wanting to divide, you got to talk to your state and local offices. Now, to me, I was not a big fan of it when I heard about it in the beginning, just because, if you've bought a house with certain guidelines, under certain rules, right? You buy a house, a single family residence in a suburban area that's zoned single family. You have to really wonder, what kind of harm is done if the rules of the game change. Mm-hmm.
right? That's the issues that I would have. But I guess that happens all the time with new laws and new programs that go into effect.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that was the biggest pushback that this bill got. I mean, it's interesting you brought up the Chapman study, right? I do remember there being detractors saying that, the housing crisis isn't as bad as, they're making it out to seem. And then secondarily is people who bought to live in a single family zoned area are now might be subject to living by multiple, multifamily units, right? I guess there are some hurdles to overcome. Like you can't have rented the property out. You got to agree to live there. There's some qualifications. So it doesn't make sense for everybody. But, and I really think because what I think it was UC Berkeley, and I forget the exact name of the study, they thought that SB 9 will only bring into effect about 9,500 new housing units in California, which if you think about it, it's really not that much, like just overall. So I think it's going to be harder for people to utilize than what, people might originally thought, but there's definitely some hurdles to overcome. And then obviously there's the legal challenges. And I think if something were to pass, this could be just slammed shut relatively quickly. But I do think it would have to be done through another Senate bill initiative / passing.
So am I right, Alton? Because you mentioned it through another Senate bill. Mm-hmm. Does an election initiative overrule a legislative generated law?
That is something I would have to check on.
Okay. See, I'm just a layman out here.
It depends. I just gave you the most stereotypical attorney answer ever. It depends. I don't know that one off the top of my head here.
Yeah, I think because I know when we've had some of these things where if you remember back, and I'm just going not too far back when Gray Davis increased the registration and gas tax and ultimately was recalled and Benedict Arnold became our governor. I don't remember whether it was an initiative that was how they repealed that or if they did it through the legislative process. But we know who's supposed to run the country, right? It's supposed to be we the people. I mean, I think it still says that in the Bill of Rights that it's we the people, something along those lines. So maybe I know that Washington doesn't believe that. It's we the Washingtonians or we the congressmen or congresswomen. Yeah. But I digress. So SB 9 says we can split our property in two. We don't have to have as much in the way of easements. The counties can't and cities can't get in the way. Now, does SB 10 go into effect at the same time?
Yes, that's my understanding is that SB 10 goes into effect at the same time and it coincides with SB 9 and essentially lays the groundwork along with SB 9 to allow the subdivision of the lots, right, and the building of duplexes or up to 2 units on each lot as well.
So I could have a large lot next to somebody with a large lot, and we both have single family, and then we got the authority to do an ADU, an additional dwelling unit, and now we can go and put in duplexes on both and make them both into a senior living center. Right. So, no, but I have to live in one, right?
Yeah. So that's part. So there's a few things here. So like the one thing is that specifically in the bill, like you can't have homeowners with adjoining lots work together, right? In this specific scenario, right? So they can't go split and then build, multiple dwelling units with in a joint effort. And then
and there's going to be somebody there that's going to be listening to us and our private conversations. We're going to continue our conversation about SB 10 with Alton Moore when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and financial markets. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. Easy for me to say. That's my message. I will be. We're gonna Is it 5 o'clock somewhere? I mean, I think my glass just has water in it today. I don't think there's any vodka in there, but it's an opaque glass. You never know. Let's see the Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by MySoCalLender.com. MySoCalLender.com. I think that's who's got our Your Credit Matters segment. Is it Monday? It must be somewhere. Well, maybe not. How those with variable income can save. That is our subject. Save. Save. This is a timeless and fundamental pillar of financial wellness. And when you freelance, ideally you should have more than the recommended 3 to 6 months of savings. Problem is, for those with income that can go up and down, think like gig workers who side hustle, freelancers, self-employed folks, saving for a rainy day can feel like a Herculean feat. But it doesn't have to be. While it can be trickier to save on inconsistent income, it is entirely possible. Let's take a look at some of the tried and true tricks for those with variable incomes and how you can save dollars. Save during higher income months. For those of us who are prone to inevitable flush periods and lulls with our work, make the most of those awesome months when you're raking in more than usual. Figure out how much you can reasonably put aside. You'll need to know how much you need for basic living expenses and business-related expenses. In turn, it's key to have a budget on variable income. Let's say your monthly expenses hover around $3,000 a month. Just throwing numbers out there. You can do the math yourself if it's a little higher than that. And you have a great month where you make $6,000. First, you need to set aside some money for savings. Anywhere from 25 to 40% is recommended. We know it's a lot, but it's better to err on the side of caution, have more than you need. Whatever is left, commit to putting a portion aside for your savings. You can divvy it up into savings, making extra debt payments, or put it towards your retirement. Save extra money besides saving during months where you're raking it in. Consider setting aside some cash toward your savings goals when you receive a cash gift for your birthday or special occasion, tax refund. Save a percentage of each paycheck after taxes are factored in. Consider saving a percentage of each paycheck. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. Maybe start with 2% or even 5%. There are some apps where you can set up a rule to automatically save a certain percentage for deposits over the particular threshold. Save during certain times of the year. The beauty of savings is that it can be done on your time and based on your circumstances that work for you. If you're feeling nervous about saving a big chunk toward your retirement plan, think outside the box. I need to save every month. Use basic formulas to figure out how much you need to save. Here's a simple process that I use. And I've shared this for years and years because I've hired commission salespeople for many, many years. Take a look at what your budget is, right? So maybe you've got a $3,000-$4,000 outgoing budget. And every bit of every check that you get goes into your savings account. And then you take a draw from your savings of whatever that budget number is. And you can't go to savings for anything else. But if you make $4,000 that month, you draw $4,000 because that's your budget. If you make $6,000 that month, you draw $4,000 because that's your budget. If you make $10,000 that month, you draw $4,000, that's your budget. But if you make $2,000, you draw $4,000 that month because that's your budget. At the end of the year, you see how you did, and then you readjust your numbers for the following year. Hopefully, you're making more every month than your budget number, and you won't go in the hole. But it's just a way of having a strategic plan for saving money. And again, then you got to put the money aside. And in November, or right about November, middle of October to the middle of November, I'm going to tell you, if that's your case, review your budget, and then call your favorite tax planner, your CPA. Raise your hand, Alton. That would be Alton Moore, right? Call Alton so you can do a tax planning strategy call, right? Because you can't do tax planning strategy in April. Number one, the tax preparers are all busy then, and they're doing all the last-minute returns for those people that waited to the last minute. And they really can't change your tax situation for the prior year too much. They might have a few tricks up their sleeve that they can do, but the bottom line is you got to do that in October, November. So make that call. So that is the Your Credit Matters segment, again, brought to you by – got some weird comments coming in here, Josh. I don't know what they like us on YouTube. I can't figure out what they're saying, but I appreciate your comments, I guess. In any event, going back to our conversation, Alton Moore was starting to tell us a little bit about SB 10 and how the government is listening. Oh, no, he didn't say that. I did. Right? So you can't have two side-by-side homeowners working together. You're not allowed to talk to each other because Big Brother is watching. Right, Alton, that's the bottom line of this, right? Is that if you can't work together, I guess they think that they've got a way of knowing if you're going to put that child, what do they call them? A child care facility side by side?
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know how they limit that, but I think I think the qualifier here is that, the homeowner has actually got to live on one of the lots in one of the units for a certain period of time. I'm not remembering exactly, but I believe it's for up to 3 years in totality. So they're really trying to combat that situation. So I guess there's always a scenario where the owner subdivides, they live in one unit, and then they build a child care center on the next. I don't know how that works out. I'm pretty sure that it's not allowed, but it doesn't mean people won't try it.
So here's I was chatting with an attorney in one of the offices I was at, and he was looking at the law. And, the beauty of any law is that if you ask 10 attorneys what their interpretation of the law is, you're going to get probably 17 or 18 opinions. Just throwing that out there.
It's true.
And the couple that didn't have an additional opinion, they were just hedging in the first place, right? So what this attorney's comment is the law says that you have to intend on living there for 3 years.
Okay.
Now, my interpretation, I'm just chatting with him. I'm not putting Alton on the spot here. But our conversation went on and said, well, if on the day that you signed the contract, you had the intention of living there for 3 years, and a week later something else came up and your intentions changed, well, you didn't violate the law because when you signed the contract, you had every intention on staying there. I just throw that out there, but
I I like how he's looking at the world with a glass half full perspective.
There you go.
That's how I would put that interpretation. I mean, you're right? Like if you have the intent and you can establish that, what this other attorney said would be correct. I just think California is a little bit, because I deal with them so much in the way of taxation as well, or just even trust in the state. They're so aggressive with their laws, and they usually tend to interpret them in unfavorable manners for just residents or taxpayers based here in California. So
Wait, Alton, you gotta back up on this one. You're really saying that California interprets laws unfavorably toward taxpayers?
Surprise.
That shocks the heck out of me, Alton. I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's I'm sure you're real surprised as well as your listeners too.
Yeah, if you can find a way to what's the old saying about California? If it makes money, tax it. If it moves, regulate it. And I think there's a third one that means that you're going to basically if it doesn't fit into one of those two categories, they'll figure out how to get at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's something along those lines, right? I mean, California is looking in every way, shape, or form, and they don't want to tell us how many people are actually leaving the state of California all the time, right? And a lot of it has to do with now, Alton. You're dealing with this all the time, right? Because of dealing with tax laws, tax codes, right? You're probably seeing a lot of people that come. I shouldn't say that. Do you get the question of people asking, "Hey, should I move out of state? Would it be better behoove me?"
Yeah, I get that question all the time, especially when the pandemic hit. I was even working with one client. He and his wife legitimately moved to Virginia for business purposes. They picked up their whole life, sold their house here, everything. No more contacts with the state of California. 3 years later, California comes back and says, "Oh, well, you didn't legitimately move, so we're going to assess taxes against you for those past 3 years and late filing penalties and interest." And the sad part here is that now underneath just tax law in general, it's the inverse of criminal law, where underneath tax law, you're guilty till proven innocent. So no matter what, this guy now has to hire a tax attorney or a CPA to represent his interest in front of FTB, prepare a full memorandum, and it's just crazy how aggressive the FTB is, with respect to collecting its taxes and trying to not let people move outside the state. So it's unfortunate. So that's why I say overall, California's not very inclined to interpret laws in favor of their residents or their taxpayers.
Yeah, well, that's not very surprising, but so let me ask you something, Alton. In the scenario, because we deal with a lot of people that are moving all the time. The client that you're talking about, and obviously we don't give names or anything like that, but
yeah,
were you able to establish that he sold his house? That's pretty obvious that and he either bought or rented something in Virginia. You got two states. A purchase agreement or a lease agreement in the other state. Is that enough to prove to the state that you've actually changed residency?
I wish I could say that was the case. So, I mean, it really helped showing that he had sold his house, they had bought a new house, that they had moved their business, and all of its like locations and just equipment and whatnot from California to Virginia. But California looks at everything. They look at the social clubs that you're a part of, where your friends located. What about the addresses on your bank accounts, right? If you have a branch in California and not in the new state you moved to, they may say that, well, that's not enough. They'll look at your voter registrations. They'll look at your IDs. They'll look at your car registrations. They'll look at every single thing. And it really becomes a totality of the circumstances test. And what's even interesting, there's a case, I believe it was beginning of 2019 that came out, where a taxpayer tried to move to Nevada and they had kept their previous house, but started renting it out. They had substantially moved everything else, bank accounts, IDs, whatnot, over to the state of Nevada. But because they kept that primary house here and began to rent it out, California made a claim that they were still a resident of California. And then they have to go in and fight that claim and had to take it all the way to tax court to get their rights litigated. So it's kind of crazy. You really, if you're going to move out of the state, you legitimately have to move out of the state. You can't really keep anything here, or else California is probably going to try to, say that you're guilty before proven innocent and make you go to the 19th extent to, prove your rights that you're not subject to California tax.
Amazing. But hey, that's why you need to have professional guidance. Alton Moore is in the house or in his house, but available to help you out. If you've got any questions, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch with Alton Moore. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.